Hello, and welcome to the Green Umbrella Live Lunch. We are live over on my LinkedIn, over on the Green Umbrella Facebook page, and also on our YouTube channel as well. Not that we ever promote that outside of saying it when we're live here, so we don't get many views there actually, but we should. I was talking to someone actually about fixing that the other day, and a few different strategies and things that we can put into place to, what's the phrase? I want to say to breathe a fresh thing of life in the what's it on our YouTube. What is that phrase?
I don't know, just because those random words you've just spouted out have just taken anything out of my head that was real, to be honest.
I'm like, there's a phrase and it's about you breathe life into something.
Like just new life.
Breathe new life.
Breathe new life. I'm struggling to say it now. Let's move on. It's fine. No one noticed. It takes 2 minutes for anyone to get the notification and actually hop on anyway. So it'll be fine. No one will know. And I doubt anyone that actually watches ever goes right back to the beginning to hear the opening. Because I think we'd have been censored by now. We'd have been cancelled if anyone actually heard. That's what we should do. We should go the 100 and however many episodes it is now and just get like the first 20 seconds of each one. That would make a really good reel, wouldn't it? Be highly entertaining. Highly entertaining. Me going, hello, why are we here? What's going on? Or the little random things that I'm still saying as we go live that nobody should hear. Anyway,
I was going to say the 10 seconds before going live would be the
It is like, honestly, if I could wave a wand and do anything with StreamYard, I think it would be you should be able to record from the moment you're in the room to the moment you leave the room. So obviously when you start broadcast and end broadcast, that's the only bit that gets broadcasted. But those bits either end, there's some brilliant outtakes there that we're not able to capture. It would be really good. Anyway, moving on. So I am even less prepared than usual today, but not because I've been lazy, but because today is the members only recruitment marketing event. So like for the whole of today, it was going to be a face-to-face event, but they've switched it to online to make it more accessible for people and for a few other reasons as well. And so I've been tuned into that all morning. And it's really weird when you go to events as a marketer talking about marketing, and it's kind of like you don't always get opportunity to hear other speakers when it's a face-to-face event. When like other people are speaking, you're on a stand talking to people, or you're grabbing coffee with someone, or you set up meetings, and so you don't actually get to listen to the other speakers. So it's been really cool this morning, like listening to what people have got to say, perhaps making a tweak or two to my slides as well. As like someone said, I was like, damn it, I was going to talk about that. Quick, swap that out for something else later. But yeah, it's been really good. We talked about email marketing, we talked about customer journey. It's a really good event, and like there's still loads of it left. So if anyone's not registered for that, if they've not got their ticket, like even if you join after this, there's still loads of value there. And of course, I'm speaking at 1:30 as well. So although I don't know, maybe you'll have had enough of me by then. Hopefully not. So what have you guys been up to whilst I've been hiding away at recruitment marketing events?
normal, really. Yeah, just everything. So getting back into it after the Easter break, but yeah, website stuff as normal. Got a website ready to go live. A few bits of print, some roller banners. So yeah, more exhibition stuff. So that sort of thing seems to be kicking in again, ready for the next sort of slab of exhibitions that are coming along and things. So
it does feel like people are suddenly more interested in print again. Like we're just starting to get things going that way, which is, print is tangible. Yeah, we've always said it. It's like, maybe it's had a lull, but it's never going to go away completely. And funnily enough, we sent out just a very small campaign, but like a print thing. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but Mark, obviously, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you were like Mr. Postmaster. Mark was not very happy if you spoke to him that day, I tell you. But I've had 2 really cool messages this morning talking about that, like the people that have received that from us. So yeah, definitely works. But yeah, it's interesting to see people. You know, everyone's just kind of like sod it now, aren't they? They're still being careful and all that kind of stuff, but everyone's got the confidence to go out and attend events. And you know, if they have to have, if they happen to catch something and have a few days off afterwards, it's just kind of, well, we've got to carry on. And we've been through this process where I think now the marketing stuff is catching up as well, because a lot of people, their businesses have changed over the last 2-3 years. So they're getting that old dusty pull-up banner out of the cupboard where it's been sitting since January 2020 and then going, oh, we don't do that anymore. We do this instead. Well, that 3rd bullet point there is like, how do we cover that up? So yeah, it's quite interesting. Unfortunately, it's coinciding with the time where, because everything's going up, print prices are also going up as well. So it's a bit of a funny situation at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's obviously it's like everything. It's been impacted by sort of transport costs and things as well, because obviously a lot of the hardware for sort of exhibition stuff is obviously made in the Far East. So, you know, I saw something the other day, and I've got mates in various retail things, but the price of a container has basically gone up 6 times the amount. It's, you know, so if you've got, I think it used to cost something like £1,000 per container, say, for example, but now it's £6,000 just for that transport cost on that container. And then obviously you've got to fill that container with the goods, which have also gone up probably due to increased manufacturing costs and things. So, but, you know, it's one of them things. Paper itself obviously has high fuel costs as well in terms of producing it, so that affects it. But it's one of those weird things that if I look at prices over time, prices have actually come down quite a lot over a few years. So we're still not back to where, you know, they haven't gone up to where they were, if that makes sense. So it's still a good value sort of medium to use, really.
Yeah, and it's, you know, that tangibility of it as well, that people do like to have something in their hands, and I think you can do some fun stuff with it as well. Yeah. If you've got someone like Mark on your team, you can do fun stuff with it. Anyway, right, so Paul's saying we're turning into another Bloomberg episode right now. Radio 4. I wouldn't know. I don't listen to Radio 4.
No,
I'm like,
not me.
I feel like, is that what old people listen to?
Don't know. Not
I'm
sure.
Like, I refuse.
I skip to 5 or 6.
Absolutely. Jane, what's happening news-wise? What are we seeing at the minute in the social media and marketing world? What's the exciting stuff that's happening?
Right, so I haven't got a huge amount this week. I guess because it's been Easter, there's not like a massive news this week. But so Instagram have updated their algorithm, or are in the middle of doing so, apparently to prioritise original content. So anyone who's reposting things from other places is now going to get penalised in the algorithm. You can create your things out of Instagram, so you can create a video somewhere else and you can still play that. That still classes as original content. But obviously if it's watermarked from TikTok or something like that, then it's not original content, so you've still got that problem. But what I thought was quite interesting is, firstly, they don't really seem to know how this is going to work. So no one really knows, including Instagram themselves, whether it's going to be a problem, whether it'll work properly or anything else. But the major place it might have implications is for people who share user-generated content. So if you obviously have seen somebody wearing your top or whatever, and they've, tagged you in, and then you've shared that content onto your profile, then those things possibly will be penalised. So yeah, that's just one worth looking out for, really.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I've seen a couple of articles on it, and there's a lot of conflicting information out there, especially with if you've created content from elsewhere. So I think they're trying to figure out that it's kind of like they've started talking about it whilst they're still figuring out what it's going to look like. So it's really tricky. What's interesting about it is it's like they've made this announcement, and one of the trying to think who it was, might be like Social Media Examiner or someone like that, released an article basically saying like number of hashtags doesn't actually make a difference to the reach of the post. And I was like, that doesn't make, like, if you've got 50,000 followers, I can understand how spending the time to put in 30 hashtags or whatever doesn't make that much difference. But with smaller accounts, like the sub 10, if you've got less than 10,000, it's, because it impacts discoverability. Of course, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
So that's it's quite interesting that we've seen that bit of research, and now it's like actually we're rolling something out where we're bringing hashtags more into play in terms of the weighting in the feed. So, and if there's one thing I hate about social media, it's researching hashtags on Instagram. It's so boring. It's like keyword research. It's really important because we need to use the right keywords, we need to use the right hashtags, but it's so dull sitting there just like, so this word is like this many posts and that word is that many posts. It's like, oh, I'd rather just create some really good content that gets something exciting going on,
Definitely.
Gets a bit of engagement. I saw another article, so it's not anything new on Instagram, but just thinking about strategies and that sort of stuff. And it was like how you can get leads from comments on Instagram. And I was like, well, yeah. But this is the thing. A lot of people think about, all social channels, but Instagram in particular, it's like they very much take a broadcast approach to it rather than an engagement approach to it. So if you think about, you post something and you're really hoping that someone's going to engage on your post so that you can converse with them, what you really want to happen is actually for you to go out and comment on other people's posts so that they're engaging with your comments, you're being seen as part of their audience, and that audience of people you want to target, and that's how you bring in more followers. And I think a lot of people miss that opportunity. And yet, like, that is how you get leads out of Instagram if you want to go down that route. So it's really interesting thinking about like the algorithms, like what do you want out of the platform? Like for me, I just want people to see that I'm posting regularly on there. For me, it's like that's how people can keep up with me. I'm not using Instagram to create leads. If we get leads from Instagram, they don't tend to be great leads for us. So actually, what I want is consistency. What I want is to be like people can look at that and understand what I'm about, understand what, they look at the Green Umbrella account, they see what Green Umbrella's about. So the algorithm doesn't matter to me too much because that's what my focus is.
It's just reminded me I've got to do some images for your Instagram.
You have. And Kim is in the comments. I'm like, Kim, mate, my Instagram, what's going on? So it's like, I go out and do all this stuff, and then Mark and Kim are actually the ones running my Instagram account and making sure everything's there. So yeah, thanks for calling me out, Mark. Appreciate you.
I only have to do the Green Umbrella related stuff though.
Yeah, that's it. I like to have a nice mix, you see, of like my the ridiculous things that I say that people seem to listen to. So we have some nice stylized shots of that, and then everything in between is a bit random. Well, it is, isn't it? The last post on my Instagram account right now is actually a reel, and it's Bella, my 16-year-old, driving a digger.
But at least you're consistently random.
I'm very consistently random.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. Consistency.
Very, very random consistently. I don't know. But there we go.
The next thing might be something about email marketing, tractors to email marketing.
That's it.
Sounds like the title of a book. From tractors to email marketing.
Email marketing.
Yeah.
A day in the life of Christina Robinson.
It's like, can you imagine if we actually did like if I got Kim to like literally just spend 7 days with me solid and just record it all? It's like the things I say, the people I hang out with, the crap I get up to. It's like there'd
be about a minute of a reel that would be usable in public.
The thing is, I think I'm quite transparent. I'm like, let's just Share it all, it'll be fine. I mean, you might not have jobs at the end of that week. It's all good. All
Poor
good.
Kim.
Yeah, she'd probably love it. Okay, what else have we got? What else is happening news-wise? So we talked a lot about Twitter last week with the whole Elon thing, which I'm so over already.
I had to look to see what had been happening with it, but it's sort of been blocked, hasn't it? But not officially blocked. Is that right?
Yeah, and then people are going back to, like, I think it was like 2015, 2016. Salesforce tried to buy Twitter then. Obviously that didn't happen. And it's like, oh, did they did they dodge a potential disaster by not their offer not being accepted and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just got a little bit like everything's crazy and then it's come down again. But we'll see. We'll see. But there's been lots of conversation about freedom of speech and what that actually means. Like what does freedom of speech mean for Elon Musk versus what we'll describe as a normal person? Don't ask me to define normal, but you get what I mean. So that's been quite interesting, not from a marketing perspective, more from a sort of a psychological, sociological kind of angle. But now I realise I'm sounding really geeky. So someone say something quick.
No, just leave it hanging.
We were talking about the editing stuff on Twitter earlier.
Yeah, it was something we were going to talk about last week, but obviously didn't get onto it. And it was Stephen O'Donnell had posted in one of our groups a sort of good example of how potentially the editing of a tweet could be manipulated in the wrong way. So he'd given an example of like saying he could tweet something like, "I think Donald Trump is a racist and a liar," which gets loads of likes, blah, 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 etc. But then he could edit that and say, "I don't think Donald Trump is a racist and a liar." So whatever your viewpoint is, you've been skewed to something, and then you've been made to look like you've liked something that you didn't actually want to like. So obviously that could work any way around on that. And then again, he said about obviously accounts that sort of change their title as well in a similar way. But then you said you think there's going to be some transparency if they do the edit button.
Yeah. So what I've seen is that on other channels you can edit a post. So let's say LinkedIn, for example, I write something out, there's a typo in there, I can edit it, and that's it. What they're going to do, or what it sounds like they're going to do on Twitter, because until we see it, we don't know. And like we've just said with like the Instagram algorithm thing, they're quite often a work in progress because they're listening to the response when it's been announced. But it sounds like you'll have the current version of that tweet, but then you'll be able to see the previous versions. So it's not like you've edited it and then that previous version isn't there anymore. It will be, the history will be publicly viewable.
Yeah.
So I think it helps to remove that stuff, but you've still got the people that are not going to click. In the same way someone sees a headline and they respond to the headline, they don't actually click through to the article to see what the context is behind it.
Yeah.
So it's still not ideal. But this is the thing with social media, is that it can be used for so much good, like all the features can be used in such a positive way, but there's always going to be people that just abuse it. And as long as like we can, from our position, if we can make sure that we're encouraging as many people as possible to use it in the right way rather than the wrong way, then I think, hopefully the law of averages will work out positively.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
What it does mean is that, so sometimes people just throw something out there. They're just like, type it out, post it, it's gone. And then they read it and they go like, so like I always, like when I'm typing, I think it's quite common. I type form instead of from quite often. And if I'm typing, like if I type the sentence "let me know," it quite often comes out as "let men know," which has been embarrassing a couple of times. I'm not going to lie. So if you've got a problem with that, just let men know. If you need some support, let men know. Yeah, not my finest moments. And even knowing that there have been more than one. So I haven't done it for a while, so we're good. But that kind of quick, right, I'm here, that's it, photo, tweet, gone. Whereas now we're going, oh crap, and we're hitting delete and all that kind of stuff. People can't see that we got it wrong in the first place. So there is this little, because right now, or historically, because you couldn't edit that tweet, people probably were a bit more careful. Especially people like me that, and the examples I've given you is typing on a keyboard. When I'm typing on this thing, it's like the, autocorrect and the rest of it. It's like Twitter, I'm really careful. But if we've now got this safety net in place with the edits, if people are going to be less careful, more errors are going to happen. People can see those errors in place. It's like we've got to be careful that we don't rely on it too. We don't want the complacency to set in. That's what I'm saying. Badly, that's what I'm saying. So yeah. So what else have you seen, Jane? Has anything else popped up on your radar?
Yep. So this one I think is really quite interesting. So YouTube, I know, like we said, we don't do a huge amount with our channel, but certainly not with Live Lunch anyway. But so they're rolling out more search insights. So basically, you'll get in your analytics area, you'll get a sort of research area, and basically you can look at sort of strategies of what other people are searching on. So it's going to have stats that include key topics of interest that people are searching on, volumes of how many people were searching on that topic. So it's all just a bit more in depth than it was there before, and how much traffic your channel has had from that search term. That's quite handy, obviously, to make sure that you're putting the right things into your videos and the right people are searching for them. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting, so it's also going to give you content gaps. So you can search on things that people search on but don't get a lot of hits. So if they happen to be relevant to your business, you can then make sure that you're creating videos that actually fulfill those search terms. So obviously that is really, really handy. And then on top of that, you can also, taking it the other way, search on what's really common search terms that get loads and loads of hits, but it's really broad now. So you could just search on how-to, and it will literally tell you what the most common how-tos are. And if they're not relevant to your business, obviously that's not very helpful. But if they are, then you can instantly see, what you might want to do a how-to on, because that's what people are looking for. So, it's just another way of optimizing what you're putting out there, really, and getting more views.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way of getting more content ideas as well. So even if you're, it's like, our YouTube channel was, we had someone in the business that was really excited about video, and they were like all over it. Video's I'm not excited about it. And so it always becomes a bit of a, like going live, doing stuff like this, presentations, like I'm having no problem doing the video, but carving out half a day to batch record a load of stuff is like, if I can kick it back a week, that's what I do all day long. And it's not because I'm not enthusiastic about recording it. I'm just not enthusiastic about the research stuff, the admin-y part of it, that side of it. But coming up with content ideas, love it. Actually creating the content, brilliant. So it's a funny one. And I think with YouTube, we talk about repurposing content all the time, but let's say you're not using YouTube in the way that you should be. Now with these tools, not only have you got ideas for your YouTube videos, you've got ideas for your blog, you've got ideas for your email marketing campaigns, you've got ideas for your social media posts. Because if people are searching this in YouTube, they're searching it in Google as well, without a doubt. So yeah, I think that's it's quite interesting in itself. And this is the other thing, people don't think about YouTube in this way. It's something we should, something I'm trying to fix at the minute in terms of our own marketing. we don't look at the blogs that we've put out there that have performed really well and turn that into video content. I turn it into presentations that we deliver. I turn it into reels and that kind of stuff, but actual sort of longer form, like going deep dive, talking about something for, there might be one paragraph in a blog that actually I could talk about for 10, 15 minutes on a video and would be really valuable. We don't do that stuff with it. Whereas we should be repurposing, not just the content, but repurposing the ideas backwards and forwards as well. So yeah, I love that. Yeah. It's quite exciting. I'll have to update all my slides now from like where do you get your content ideas from? So it would be 21 content ideas instead of 20 now.
Yeah. Just while we're talking about YouTube things as well, there's another couple of things that, well, it's YouTube and TikTok. So they've both improved their auto captions for accessibility reasons. So YouTube are now allowing you to securely delegate your caption generation to a third-party app or whatever. So you can give permissions within YouTube for Otter, presumably, or something like that, to do the captions and then bring it back into YouTube, properly, but rather than having to do it sort of as separate steps. So that's quite good. And then TikTok are switching their English captions on by default, basically now. So you can still add your own and you can still switch them off, but they will be on by default now, and you can go in and edit them if you want, so if they're not quite right. And if it's only a short video, it actually doesn't take very long to edit what's there, so you might as well use it.
You say that, but you're not the one doing the editing, Jane, are you?
That's true, yeah.
It's really annoying. Really. So a little tip, if you're doing video on TikTok or on Reels, and you're going to use the captions, just be conscious of that. Because if you're conscious of it, the way that you're speaking, you'll just speak that little bit clearer. And then you don't have to do so much editing. If I just talk normally, like the way I talk when I'm mid-rant on here, you'll get all the stuttery bits. And when I say little instead of little, and then you've got to correct that all in the captions. It's so frustrating. Instagram is the worst. Like Instagram captions, it's actually quite fiddly correcting the captions. So if I'm going to do my captions in Instagram, I'm really careful about how I'm speaking for that reason. TikTok seems to understand me all right. Don't have to worry so much on TikTok, which is why if you see me share my TikTok reels and they've got captions on, and you see me sharing them on Instagram, it's because I know for me to do that video on Instagram is going to take me twice as long because of the captions.
Fair enough.
It's so annoying. But YouTube captions and Facebook captions are the worst.
LinkedIn aren't that great either. Perhaps better than the other two, but I've seen some howlers on LinkedIn as well.
I've not paid attention to LinkedIn ones, but yeah, I mean, the auto captions on Facebook are... So some people, if you're on Facebook watching this now and you're in feed, you haven't clicked through, you've probably got automatic captions popping up. And some of the stuff that, because it's doing it real time, so we can't correct it. I've had messages where people have screenshot stuff and go, "Oh, you need to correct your captions." I'm like, this is not how it works. Yeah, that was Facebook trying to make this more interesting to you. It's like it's a real time thing. So yeah, I mean, we should probably share some of those screenshots when they come through because they are entertaining. Or maybe I should just share them internally. Actually, thinking about it. But yeah, there we go. Cool. Okay. So Mark, what else? There must be other stuff going on in your world at the minute that we can talk about.
Well, I was looking at just some Instagram stuff that just sort of cropped up on one of the sites I read, and that they're changing the way that they sort of present the hashtag page. So if you're searching for a hashtag at the minute, you get sort of a page for that hashtag, and you get top posts, recent posts, and reels, and you can follow the hashtag, and it tells you how many posts there are, like when you're looking to research your hashtags. But basically, in the top part at the minute, it could be things that have been engaged with, or it could be fairly recent stuff, but it could also be stuff that's like months old. So they're only testing it at the minute, but they're going to change it and actually get rid of the recent tab and start putting more in the top tab, so that the top tab is actually top post plus recent posts. So they're trying to get you to engage with sort of more relevant and recent content by actually having that in that first tab. I think Reels is going to stay the same from their little sort of thing they put out, but it's just a minor thing if you do follow sort of hashtags and things on Instagram.
Cool. I really struggle with the discover, because I think so when you're, you know what I was saying before about engaging in other people's content, a normal Instagram user will be doing searches that are relevant to them, and therefore the way they use Instagram, the content they're engaging with, the people engaging with them, it's sending all these signals to Instagram. So when you then go into the Explore tab, or you're doing those searches and it's serving you that top content, it's kind of learn who are you as a user, so it can serve you with the best stuff. And it's always really random when I go into it, because of course I'm like talking to one client that has a pet product, and I'm searching for certain things on Instagram because I've had an idea for them. And then like the following afternoon, I'm doing another search and it's related to an accountant or an IT recruiter, or, you know, something like, so I get such weird stuff in my discover area for that reason. But I guess for you two, it's sort of less so. So how relevant do you, like if you do a search or if you go into your discover area, how relevant are you finding what you're served with?
I think it's sometimes still a bit irrelevant, to be
Yeah.
honest,
Is it random
because
for you?
yeah, I don't, it's, you know, I've got things that are obviously sort of sport related and things that I've been looking at, but then it's things that are only vaguely related. So, you know, so it's like, yeah, sports things, but it's very broad on the sport. So it wouldn't just be rugby. Do you know what I mean? It's like circuit training or something, which is something I have got zero interest in, or something, you know, or CrossFit or something. You know, it's like no. So it can be a little bit random still, I think.
Yeah, I mean, mine certainly is, because like you, I actually do use mine a bit for searching for things for clients or looking at their Instagrams while I'm logged in as me. So mine is probably random for that reason too.
I suppose, to be fair though, if I'm looking at our clients, I'm usually logged in as me rather than GU still. I wouldn't bother switching if I was looking at something. So
yeah, it's tricky. So if you're, you know, if anyone is still with us and listening, like, you know, drop a comment for us. And like, if you're using Instagram, you're using it in that way. Is this a part of Instagram where you're, you know, you're hanging out and discovering new content because that's what it's supposed to be there for? Or do you go into it and go, what is this? And then just go back to your feed? That'd be quite interesting to know. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I'm thinking let's keep this quite short today. It's just the three of us. That's quite a nice treat for people, actually, for it to be just the three of us. We've had Dean come in and Nicole come in, and I definitely didn't just forget her name for a second there. We've had
out of sight, out of mind for like a few hours.
Do you work here now?
Nicole.
Why am I so horrific at names? It's like, it's not intentional at all. But yeah, it's been a while since it's been just the three of us.
That's true.
What a treat. But yeah, we'll draw it to a close only because, like I said, there's this event going on that I need to get back to, and we'll get back to that before they all disappear for lunch. So I'm just going to say a big thank you. Thank you for everyone that's tuned in today. We will be back next Thursday, 12 noon on my LinkedIn, on Facebook, and also live on YouTube as well. And we'll probably have Nicole back with us. We'll be talking about what's new in social media, stuff we've been working on. And I think next week, everyone will feel much better about the world in general and a bit more with the programme, because we'll be back on a normal 5-day week. I hate 4-day weeks.
Only for that week, though. Then the following week's a 4-day one again.
Honestly, like Easter and May, I'm just like, I never feel like I'm fully in the world because of all these 4-day weeks. But I know, felt like I had a bit of a holiday. Yeah, I felt like I had a bit of a holiday. I think it's the first Easter for a long time where I literally didn't work any of it. Like, didn't even steal half an hour to work on something, or so I do feel like I've had a bit of a break. But I want to get back into it now. I want a proper 5-day week, guys. Come on, help me out. Anyway, I'm just twittering. So we'll say goodbye. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Thursday at 12. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.